Alright guys, first and foremost, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I do truly appreciate it, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you clicking on the video as well. Now, in today's video, I wanted to talk about the boy Xiao. He's going to be dropping hopefully in version 1.3 here within about, the next 2 weeks or so. And I wanted to talk about his constellations and whether they are necessary for him or not, because there have been some talks in the community, especially with that leaked video in regards to Xiao being C6 and how much damage he was doing, and him going berserk and going burr and clapping cheeks and taking names, all that good stuff. So I wanted to just give my take on it, and of course, as always, if you have a different opinion or if there's something that I might be missing, I implore you, go in the comments down below, let me know, and let's get a discussion going. I love talking Genshin with other people, as well as being able to discuss differencing of opinions when it comes to stats and attack and things of that nature. So it's always a good time. As well as, if you enjoyed today's video, you got something from it, go ahead and drop a like. It helps out the channel tremendously. And if you're new to the channel, you enjoyed the content, you like what you see here, go ahead and consider subscribing. We're trying to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and your support means everything. It's everything. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the boy Xiao and how I believe he does not need constellations for him to be an amazing character. I know some people believe he needs to be C6 in order to do dummy damage, but I don't think that is actually the case. I think at C0 he's going to be perfectly fine. Now, of course, characters with constellations are always going to be better, and Xiao is no different. It's just I don't think his constellations in particular make him more of a broken character, or that they are 100% super necessary on him, as I think he's going to be able to perform fantastic without constellations being at C0, much like Ganyu. Where the main difference though between Ganyu and Xiao is that in Ganyu's constellations, she has some constellations that allow her to be able to do more damage, to where Xiao has that, but in a differencing type of sense. And what I mean by that is, with Ganyu, she has her C1 that can make the enemies more susceptible to taking cryo damage, lower their cryo resistance so she can hit a little bit harder, and then her C4 allows her elemental burst to allow her to hit harder as well. Whereas Xiao has some other things in the aspect of allowing him to be able to do his E skill more often, and being able to proc that more often and be able to do more damage that way. So those are just like the main differences. But other than that, I think Xiao at C0 is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers here and discuss what we're seeing. So his stat progression is crit rate, so that is fantastic, because you're going to be able to, much like Ganyu, you're going to be able to go crit damage attack and build that up to high nutty numbers and have that crit rate still be really high. So really good stuff there. Now, his base attack, as you can see at level 80, is 325. That is off the charts, guys. That is absolutely off the charts, his base attack being 325. Just as a comparison, I pulled up the other polearm users that are in the game and not in the game just yet. We have Ling at level 80 at 210. We have Big Daddy Zhongli at level 80 at, let me see, I went too far, at 233. And then we have the girl Hu Tao, who we hope is coming alongside Xiao, Xiao first and then Hu Tao in version 1.3 at only 99. But we know the reason for that. If you've seen my Hu Tao videos, we understand why that is. So as you can see, Xiao being at 325 is just off the charts. It's really good, and that's going to allow him, just based off of that alone, that being his base stat, allow him to hit harder. And then you just go ahead and build him attack even higher, and then crit damage, and then you can see how he's starting to become ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. If we take a look at his attack talent, of course, the plunging attack is one of those things that he's known for. When you take a look at his attack stats, based off of the charge attack at level 8, 191%, the plunge attack at 129%, where it gets to 258%. If you have the high plunge, 323%. If we take a look at, let's say, Ling, for example, just as a comparison, we have the high plunge at level 8 at 272.93%. Where was Xiao's at? At 322, so you can see right there is higher. If we take a look at Big Daddy Zhongli, at level 8, 272 or 273 rounding up. And then if we take a look at the girl Hu Tao, it's going to be 258. So you can see that Xiao's just plunge attack. Also, let me take a look at that 6-hit damage is 151%. If we take a look at Zhe Ling's, that is at 200 and, oh no, she only has 5-hit at 121%, so she doesn't have a 6-hit. Big Daddy Zhongli at only 93%, and then Hu Tao at 135 or 136 if you round up. So you could just see that Xiao all around with just, you know, basic stuff, base stats, base attack stat, just his basic attacks, plunge attacks are just naturally higher than the other individuals in his same category, being polearm users. So you can see right off of that, he's going to be absolutely amazing. And then when you take a look at his E skill, the wind cycling, starts with 2 charges, can be used in midair. He basically dashes and does damage. And you can see at level 8, 404%. That is pretty nutty with a 10-second cooldown. If we take a look at, you know, let's say Zhongli, for example, and we take a look at his E skill, you know, obviously it's vastly different. It's not going to be comparison. It's hard to compare that with any other character in the polearm category because it's unique and it's very different. But he has 2 charges on it, so essentially he can have 808% being able to do that if you do that in succession. Really good stuff right there, and it's going to be part of his gameplay, how you utilize him. But of course, his main bread and butter, what you're going to be mostly using him for, and where the main damage output is going to be coming from, his elemental burst, which is the bane of all evil. Basically, you know what he does. He transforms and he just gets a boost to his stats, increase attack AoE and attack damage, increases his jumping ability, converts attack damage into anemo damage, and it does deplete a partial health, a little bit of life drain. So at level 8, it's at 2%. For the life drain of current HP per second. It has a duration of 15 seconds, cooldown of 18 seconds. The energy cost is 70, a little bit higher than what we would like to see. Like 60 is nice, but 70 is not bad. I mean, a little bit higher, but not bad. And then 86.1%. Now, the plunge is in there, so you're getting that as well. So really nice, and that is going to be his bread and butter. So you're going to want to pop his elemental burst, start the plunge attacks, do a couple wind cyclings, and you're going to be doing some crazy damage. You can do some basic attacks, plunge attacks, and he's going to be doing the DPS that you want him to do. I know people are scared of him being nerfed or him being, you know, not doing that big PP damage that they want him to do, but I can assure you he's going to be hitting hard, guys. I don't think you have to worry about that. I think what a lot of people were concerned about was the constellations, that video that was leaked showing him at C6, and I hope just right off of there, going over his stats, his basic stats, his elemental skill and elemental burst was convincing enough that he's going to be doing dummy damage. But we could also take a look at the passive talent. So if we take a look at the Conqueror of Evil, while under the effects of Bane of all evil, all damage dealt by Xiao increases by 5%. That's just in his passive talent. Absolutely fantastic. Damage increases by a further 5% for every 3 seconds the ability persists. The maximum damage bonus is 25%. That's phenomenal, guys, and that's just based off of his passive talent when he does his elemental burst. And then if we take a look at Heaven Fall, using the wind cycling increases the damage of subsequent uses of the wind cycling by 15%. This effect lasts for 7 seconds and has a maximum of 3 stacks. Gaining a new stack refreshes the effect's duration. So you do your wind cycling and then you do a wind cycling pretty much right afterwards, and that second one is going to hit 15% harder, which is phenomenal. Now, one thing I did want to go ahead and mention is if you were going to talk about constellations, I think C1 is a good place to go for because it increases the wind cycling charges by 1, which means that third one that you do should be hitting even harder than that second one, if I'm reading this correctly. Once again, let me know in the comments down below. But if I'm reading that correctly, then that should be doing even more damage on the third one, which is absolutely phenomenal. So C1 is incredible for Xiao. But other than that, let's take a look at his other one. So we have C2. When in the party and not on the field, Xiao's energy recharge is increased by 25%. Now, me personally, I think that is a good constellation. I know a lot of people don't think that's a good constellation because Xiao being a main DPS, that's who you're going to have out on the field. And basically, everything's going to revolve around Xiao. So when is he not going to be on the field? But if there ever is a chance that he is not on the field, that energy recharge by 25% is very nice to have, because you want to pop his ult as often as possible. And more energy recharge is always a good thing. So it's not a bad constellation. Is it the most ideal? Of course not. Something, you know, in regards to increasing his attack would be more ideal, allowing him to do, you know, fold in more enemies with more lawn chairs. But it's not bad, but it's not ideal. So C2 I don't think is necessary for Xiao by any means. And then we look at C4. When Zhao's HP falls below 50%, he gains 100% defense bonus. Is that good? Yes. Is it super necessary? No, I don't think so. Now, if that was 100% attack bonus, now we're talking C4 being absolutely nutty and stupid ridiculous, and something you might actually want to try and go for. But since it's a defense bonus, which is nice, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's necessary though. I don't think it's a must-have. And then if we take a look at C6, which is nice, while under the effects of Bane of All Evil, hitting at least 2 opponents with Zhao's plunging attack will immediately grant him 1 charge of the wind cycling, and for the next 1 second he may use the wind cycling while ignoring its cooldown. That's dumb, and that's pretty broken. But in all honesty, it's not something that you have to push for. That's for the Megalodon whales, Leviathans, whatever you want to call them. But is it necessary to have on Xiao, or necessary to go for in order for him to be able to spit out some dumb damage? No, I don't think so. I think if you were going to go for any constellation, I think C1 is a very, very nice one to go for. And then you can stop there and start saving for the next character you're excited for. So if we're talking about if Xiao needs constellations, no. Does Xiao need constellations to be a very awesome DPS damage oriented character? No. I think he's going to be great at C0. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to fulfill that DPS role that you're looking for if you still need that fulfilled. If you need a very strong NMO DPS character, he'll be able to fulfill that role for you as well if you just get 1 copy. That's what I recommend. Just 1 copy and get out. But at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. And once again, if you have differing opinions, or if you think otherwise, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to be able to discuss that with you in the comment section. But as far as Xiao is concerned, I think he's going to be phenomenal at C0, just based off of his base stats, his stat progression, and what his kit entails. Much like Ganyu, I think that fulfills it for him, and I don't think you need to really look elsewhere in terms of constellations. And then when you just compare it with the other polearm users, I mean, you can just see for yourself with the other polearm users, just his base stats alone are nice. Obviously, they're very different, and they're going to be different because, you know, Zhongli, more of a support burst DPS, Ling, you know, being a pyro, and then Hu Tao having her own unique mechanics that are completely different from any other character. But all in all, if we just take a look at base stats, Xiao's going to be nutty, guys, and you don't have to worry about constellations on him. He's still going to be able to do what you want him to do without the constellations. But anyways, guys, that was my two cents on the matter. Once again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you got something from it, and hopefully I wasn't all over the place or too convoluted. I'm going to get out of here. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And until next time, my boys, until next time, it's your homie Cody GT, and I'm out. Bye, guys.